All right, we are live. What's going on, everybody? It's Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist, coming at you from lovely San Diego. Hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Newsflash, I actually went out, and I went out to a couple of bars, and I had a good time and actually talked with human beings. As you guys know, I spend a lot of time by myself and indoors, which is super healthy. And I decided to mix it up and to go hang out with some friends, and I had a fucking blast. It was a good time. Everyone was really friendly. I found a couple new spots to check out. And yesterday I went off my diet a little bit, just relaxed slightly, and had sushi and Mexican food and a couple of vodka sodas. And by a couple, I mean I lost count. So had a nice time. So let's talk today about PR, about the 3-step plan that I use in order to turn experts into highly visible industry celebs. There is an actual recipe for it, and today I'm going to share it with you. And I hope you guys are excited. It's Monday. I hope you guys are changing the world, and I hope you guys are desiring. Always start with spirit fingers. Keep the energy up. Desiring to be highly sought after, visible industry leaders. I maintain that you can take anybody, apply this process to them, and they will see at least reasonable results. And what I mean by that is I don't turn people famous overnight. I never want to imply that. But if you take a person and you get their angle crafted, and then you get them in a bunch of places and you teach them how to do social media right, you're going to take them on a journey. You're going to take them on an upward, amazing journey. All right. Let me know what you're up to today in comments. I always love hearing from people and finding out what they're working on. I've been up since 5 a.m. and the first thing I did was got my ass to the gym and did 30 minutes of fan bike, 30 minutes of weights, and I just had my first meal of the day, 345 calories, which, of course, I'll be posting on my Facebook stories because I'm on a caloric reduction journey. And it's actually been kind of fun. All right, we'll start with the first sponsor. Tinker's Affliction. If you're a fan of supernatural fiction reading, check out Dana Incarnation's book, Tinker's Affliction, about a girl genius named Tinker who is about to age out of the foster care system when a family with a mysterious past adopts her. And she actually falls in love and spends time with the family and learns about their own sordid past. And you get to find out more about Tinker and her abilities as well. It is a great book. It is. I'm still piecing through this. Like, it's a monster. It's over 500 pages. Dana did an amazing job writing this, but there's just so much, and I'm really digging going through it. Dana wrote this with her mom, Lizette. Lizette did all the editing. Lizette's an Air Force veteran. You can find this by Googling Tinker's Affliction on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online. It is a spectacular book. Pick up her copy. She's been featured on Vertical Momentum podcast with Richard Kaufman and the Brett Davis podcast already, and we got her a nationwide press release. And she actually has 3 pending magazine appearances, so Dana is doing quite well. Tinker's Affliction is the book. All right, so let's jump into my 3-step process that I use to create business celebrities. So right at the gate, the very first thing you want to do is work on the positioning, the messaging, the angle, and the story. And this means, what do you stand for? What's important about you? Why are you qualified to do whatever it is that you do? And what makes you stand out from competition? What's unique about you? Okay. As we all know, if you go into my superhero story, I'm a high school and 2-time college dropout raised by drug addicts who ended up getting a PhD and interviewed 255 times in the media. That is my superhero story. And the more that I tell it, the more interview requests I get to share how I rose through the ranks and became who I became. When you're talking about becoming a business celebrity, like I said, the very first step is to figure out your positioning. And your positioning is just a fancy way of saying, okay, why are you qualified to do what you do? Do you have a real estate license? Do you have a degree? Do you have a certificate? Did you get the X, Y, and Z business results? Whatever. Positioning is basically your humble brag, your achievements, Positioning gives people the security that you're worth interviewing and working with. Okay. So my newest client is Nick Devlin at Nick Devlin Coaching. And he is a former Army Ranger with the 75th Ranger Regiment in Washington. And Nick had a scroll and a tab, which is very impressive, very hard to do. So that would be part of his qualifying positioning, because he accomplished something that has an over 50% dropout rate in the Army twice. And he teaches people how to overcome obstacles, right? Becoming a scrolled Army Ranger is a hell of an achievement. Physical, mental, perseverance, everything. And Nick is the right guy to take people to that next level. He's the guy that should be a coach, but he also has a coaching certification. And the reason I'm bringing Nick up, not just because he's a client, is because these are all his positioning tools that tell people, hey, this is why Nick is an awesome coach. He's done this, 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 and this. Right away, that's the story. That's the angle. That is Nick's qualifier, right? Next is the messaging. So in stage one, when you're doing your positioning, messaging, angle, and story, the messaging means, what are you trying to impart to the audience? What do you stand for? What is and this almost has to do with business branding. It's kind of like on the line, but when you're figuring out your messaging, you have to figure out, okay, what am I trying to impart on people? What am I trying to say? What are my services going to do for someone? What are they going to create? Benefits, not features, right? For my own messaging, when I'm reaching out to people, I let them know, hey, if you don't have a lot of interviews, if you aren't connected, but you got this great business, but nobody's seeing what you're doing, I can help get you out of business stealth. I remove the blanket that covers most people's businesses. That's my own messaging is, hey, if you work with Rob, you're going to start getting interviews. Your story's going to be, told. You're going to get on sites like Reddit and Pinterest that most people don't go to regularly. All this different shit, creating these awesome visibility plans and campaigns that are broken for businesses. Messaging is very important. Figuring out what it is. What is your message? What do you communicate to others? Very important. All right, so let's go to the second phase. That's the first phase, is positioning and messaging. It is pretty much developing your superhero story, like what's interesting about you. The second phase is a media blast. And this is where I shine. So a media blast can be TV, podcasts, niche specific magazines, industry periodicals. When I take on a client and we get to stage two, shit just gets crazy. Interviews start popping up. I tap into my own network. I have my VA create a database of industry specific magazines. I reverse engineer the person and their background. Sometimes you can find something like, if you're a person of color, there's a lot of Black media out there. If you're a veteran, there's veteran-based media. There's a lot of things you can find by reverse engineering a person's background. If you're a Spanish speaker, you can apply to Univision for a freaking interview. So reverse engineering is really important. Podcasts are a good foundation. Obviously, when I was running Shift Magazine, like that would be the very first brick in the pyramid. That's how I got TED Fox started. And I would always hear the argument of, your magazine's worthless. You don't have a ton of viewers, Rob. What's the point of even putting someone in there? Why would they pay you to be in Shift Magazine? Well, we got Ted in Shift. I wrote a single article about him. The fucking article went viral. Now we start contacting reporters. And guess what? Ted now has a viral article and he's got a Shift article. So he's showing up on Google. I made him a couple of custom graphics. I popped him on Reddit in a couple rooms. Now he's got 45,000 views on Reddit. He's viral on Newsbreak. Oh, I released a press release nationwide. So he's got all these things plus Shift Magazine for positioning. And then Ted gets a sit down with executives at Pontiac talking about a lifetime distribution deal. He also got an iHeartRadio interview from a press release that we did. So that's why. So when people ask that rude ass question of, hey, what's the value of Shift Magazine, Rob? There aren't a ton of readers. Well, fuckface, to be honest, I use it as the first brick in the pyramid of somebody's campaign. And thank God I have the optimism and experience that the average person does not. Because It just makes me laugh when I hear people with such narrow perspectives on things. People that are view snobs never get anywhere in business. They just don't. If you're only accepting media interviews or only trying to get like interviewed on like the Joe Rogan podcast, shit like that, good luck. You have to start off small. You have to build your way up, and you have to build a Google presence. And that's why I do Shift Magazine as the very first thing when I bring on a client. All right. So when we're doing the media blast, there's a lot of choices. You have newspapers, magazines, high view blogs, influencers, press releases, local news, industry magazines, and like I said, specialized podcasts. The media blast is everywhere. So when I work with a client, they get sent to everything that is relevant to their company. I'm not just like blindly shotgun spraying to random places that aren't going to provide value. And I match industry with clients. So Brandy Rector, for example, Simperfly Helicopters. We got her in like, I think it's called Aero World or Rotor World, but we got her in a helicopter magazine pretty easily. Ted Fox, mechanic in Texas, owner of Scooter's Garage, got in Pontiac magazines called Poncho Perfection 5 fucking times. Mike Rannigan just got accepted, just got his article released in Roofing Elements magazine. And I think there was one more that was industry specific, but industry specific magazines are the gold mine that very few PR people actually are doing. This is a new service that I've started offering, but as you see, the results are speaking for themselves, and definitely fun. Okay. Let's talk about our second sponsor real quick. If you need custom cutlery, check out Mike Peterson at mikesdamascusknives.com. High crafted Damascus steel can be etched with your name. Check out this quality. I feel like a QVC guy right now. Check out the quality. You can get it on FlexPay. There's my name, my rank, beautiful carbon fiber handle, and this bastard will cut through nearly anything except the child support paper. So, custom sheath. Mike Peterson, mikesdamascusknives.com, and you will get a knife that will last you a long, long, long time. Mike uses premium materials, hand forges all his knives, unless otherwise indicated, and I've really enjoyed having him as a sponsor. He does amazing work. He was on Forged in Fire, so you know he's the real deal. mikesdamascusknives.com. Okay. Now, and number 3. Okay, we've talked about the 3 stages of being a business celebrity. Number 1 is your positioning and messaging. Number 2 is your media blast. Once you've got your storyline, your angles, everything going, your positioning and branding, all that shit. Number 3, omnipresence. This is the big one. This is the one the stupid gurus will always tell you is the most important thing. The Alex Hormozis and the Gary Vaynerchuks and the Scott Oldfords and the people that fucking lie for a living. Scott Oldford, actually, pretty decent dude. His book, The Nuclear Effect, is excellent. He's a good guy. He's legit smart, and he actually has the results to back up what he's teaching. I will always throw my hat in the ring for Scott Oldford. I wish he would return my text messages, but that's neither here nor there. All right. Omnipresence. How do we achieve it? We automate our social media, or we assign a VA staff member to it. VA in this case stands for Virtual Assistant, not Veterans Administration. We are featured across multiple social media channels, and we have a variety of good-looking content that's engaging and fun. And then if you want, you can do paid boosts and advertising to get your message even further. Omnipresence is something I'm still working on. I do have some automation tools, but the next phase for the warrior strategist is omnipresence, where you're going to be seeing my goofy face in a lot of places. I've just been very, very busy with projects and family stuff, but omnipresence is next up on my list. All right, so those are the 3 steps. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But if you follow that formula, you will get more engagement, more traction, bigger audience, more interviews, more views, and you will be eventually climbing the ladder towards business celebrityship. So I will repeat real quick, and then I will start my own work day. So stage 1 is positioning and messaging, crafting your superhero story. Stage 2 is your media blast, making a media campaign, reaching out for podcast interviews, getting on TV, radio, newspaper, TV, carrier pigeon, whatever. Number 3 is omnipresence. Be seen on multiple social media platforms. Mix it up with regular posts and video like I'm doing right now. Be present in a lot of places. If somebody sees you 2-3 times in a day, they're going to start being curious about what you do and what you sell, and it creates trust. Omnipresence is a lot more important than people give it credit for. I would seriously consider it. And it's not, omnipresence is not the IG bullshit of taking 1,000 pictures of yourself. It is about creating meaningful content that represents your brand. That is omnipresence, just being seen in a lot of places, because over time, consistency equals trust, and trust equals sales. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I felt good about today's message. I sound like Stuart Smalley, overwhelmingly positive. But today was awesome. And if you guys have any questions about PR, visibility, getting more interviews, whatever, feel free to reach out to me. I'm Rob Garcia, the Warrior Strategist. I'll see you next time. As always, stay famous.